I am a wife and mother of 2 kids. I have almost a 20-year-old and a 12-year-old. Before I had COVID, I owned my own business. I owned an art studio, so I would teach painting classes, and it was awesome. The month before I got COVID, I ran the San Francisco Marathon. So tons of hills in San Francisco, and it was like a five-hour marathon. So it was in shape. I had a really good time on the marathon. I had never had any health issues. I was a vegan for like 10 years. I was living like my best life, I guess. And then in October of last year, then I got sick, and I thought, I'm strong. Like, I had a baby with no pain meds. I just ran a marathon. Like, I'm going to beat this. And man, was I wrong. And then I was fine for about 5 or 6 days. And then I was not the same for about 7 months. I was sick for 20 days. Had a nurse come in and do like an IV infusion because I was sick for so long. And it kind of helped. It was like vitamin C and like a Myers cocktail, a bunch of stuff. And I didn't feel good, but I didn't feel like I had been poisoned like I felt when I was actually sick with the virus. So I had about 5 days where I could put up the Christmas tree. But I remember putting up the Christmas tree and just like, I couldn't get my hands over my head. And I was out of breath. And I remember just having to almost collapse on the couch. I can get up and I can brush my teeth. The 6th day, I was like, go get your nails done. You'll feel better. I started having chest pain in the nail salon, and then it didn't go away, and then it just got worse. And these ladies around me were talking and telling me, it's a panic attack. You need to calm down. I had to tell the lady to take the nails off. I wasn't gonna be able to sit through it. And they just kept talking, and the pain just kept getting worse. I remember getting really hot and almost blacking out. The owner of the salon said, do you need me to call the ambulance? And I said, yeah. I remember her getting into my phone and calling my husband. The pain was so bad, my jaw had locked up. I almost blacked out because I don't remember the paramedics. I don't remember any of that afterwards. And then episodes like that just kept happening. And I ended up back in the emergency room 6 more times after that. And it just progressively kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. The first time it was a panic attack. The second time they wanted me to go follow up with a cardiologist. The third time they were looking for a blood clot. The 4th time they insisted that I was a drug addict. 5th time I was there was in January of this year. I was having stroke-like symptoms. I couldn't lift my arm above my head. The left side of my face, I couldn't move. It was numb and tingly. That day was the day that I had lost the ability to walk. Firefighters came up to my room, did this assessment and said, you need to walk downstairs because we don't want to have to carry you down in a gurney. And I went to the hospital, and I remember sitting on the floor because I couldn't hold my body up in a chair. That's how bad my condition was. I couldn't sit in a chair, and I was in so much pain. And I remember sitting on the floor just crying. Nobody would help me. And one lady was like, well, if you can walk over to, this bed, then we can hook you up to an IV. And I was like, I can't walk. And they must have thought like, she's just making it up, or she's a drug addict or something. Because the last time I was there, they insisted that I had been using methamphetamine. And it was like, I don't need anything that's, not organic I just ran a marathon. Like, the doctor asked me 5 times, and I asked him, why do you keep asking me that? I told you 4 times that I don't use drugs. And he said, well, because people with symptoms like yours usually are on methamphetamines. That's not the case. The 6th time they did MRIs, CT scans, they found nothing. I almost couldn't speak for myself. I remember texting my husband, I'm sitting on the floor, nobody's helping me. And I told him, I need you to come in here. And at that point, they weren't letting anybody in the hospitals. I couldn't get up. I couldn't speak. I was in so much pain. So I couldn't even tell the doctor, like, it didn't, register to me, like, check my blood work, And I remember hoping that it was a blood clot. Like, okay, I'll have an answer now. I remember sitting there praying for a blood clot. God, please let it be a blood clot. She's so sad. I just kept trying to tell all of these doctors and, people in the emergency room, I'm not making this up. Like, look at these pictures. This is me before. Like, this is not who I am. This is not who I am. I have proof. Like, I'm not making this up because I, want attention. I went through 3 primary care physicians because I was so desperate. None of them were willing to do anything. None of them. As I was sitting in a wheelchair, like hunched over, it was a really, really bad day. Like, we thought I was having a stroke that day. My last primary care, he told my husband that I needed to see a psychologist because there was nothing that he could do. His hands were tied. So I needed to seek psychiatric help. He's like, this is not her. It's not in her head. I mean, even saying it or thinking about it now is like, I can't believe I went through that. I can't believe that. And none of them helped me. None of them did. None of them believed me. My opinion is, none of them were willing to look outside of what they were taught. My husband had ordered tons of blood work outside of our insurance because the doctors weren't doing anything for us. So he would research all night long. So he had ordered some blood work and we got the results back. It showed microclotting of the blood. He took the blood work to my doctor's office and said, there's proof that, there's something going on with her. Can you prescribe her this medication that helps with the microclotting? And my doctor said, you should go back to the doctor that ordered that blood work. And my husband said, I ordered it because you wouldn't. And look, there's something wrong with her. There's proof that there's something going on in her body. And he said, no, I'm not going to prescribe you anything. I ordered the blood work. There's no doctor. You're her doctor. You need to help her. And he said, I won't order anything. You're relying so much on your doctor and you're relying so much on these people to help you. And after, no, we're not going to do anything, them telling me that it's in my head, that their hands are tied. At that point, he realized it's up to me to save my wife. So the medication that was supposed to help with the microclotting, he found a place in India to order the medication, and he ordered it. We had done all of this blood work, looking for answers, and then did Dr. Bruce Patterson's from Incel DX. We did the blood work for his thing, and then met with one of the doctors from Incel DX, and he said, you have all these, inflammatory markers and all this stuff is happening in your system. We want you to take all of these things and ask your doctor to give them to you again. So my doctor said, no freaking way. I'm not prescribing any of that. We were desperate, so desperate. Thinking back about it, it just, I can't believe it. We got medication from India to start taking because the doctor here wouldn't do anything for me. I'm laying in bed and I can't feed myself. I can't do anything. I am completely bedridden. I'll do anything at this point. I'll do anything. Of course, we were very scared. You spend all this money and what if it's something else? But what else do I have to lose? He went through some call center and got some crazy stuff from India. I was taking it for like a week and a half, and I was so sick. The medication that I took, I couldn't open my eyes. It was an awful experience. And I thought, I'm able to crawl downstairs and crawl to the bathroom when I need to, but while I was taking his medication, I couldn't crawl anywhere. I wanted to shrivel up and die. It was so bad. I thought, why do I feel like this again? Why do I feel like I want to die? And then I realized, oh, you're taking this medication. Maybe you should stop. So I stopped the medication, and then in a couple of days, I started to feel better. It wasn't better from the long haul stuff, but I didn't feel like I wanted to rip my face off. And that's how I felt with the medication I got from India. And because I was taking 5 or 6 things, I couldn't say if one helped and one didn't. I continued laying on the floor crying in the bathroom because I couldn't get up. And my 2 kids are looking at me saying, are you okay? Can I help you up? And he said, no. And that was every night constantly because the chest pain was so bad. I was almost suffocating from the inside out. And my poor kids would see me every night thinking there's something wrong with my mom, and I couldn't tell them, I think I'm gonna die. I was counting this morning the list of symptoms that I had. It was about 36 different things. At first, the top of the list was I was having what felt like heart attacks almost every 4 days. And then it turned into being unable to walk. That was pretty big. Literally riding around in a wheelchair, having my husband push me in a wheelchair. I couldn't even use my arms to, make the wheels go. Having my kids help me to the bathroom. Those were pretty low points. But there was one day where I thought I was having a stroke. I couldn't lift my arm. My face was numb again. And I had my husband help me to the restroom, and I couldn't pick up my feet. And I thought, something's wrong. My speech was really, really slurred. I couldn't get the words out. So I told him, when I realized, my feet aren't working, we should go to the hospital. And as we were driving, I thought, this is probably I probably won't live after this. I thought I should probably tell him how much he means to me. I couldn't speak. My face was just droopy, and there was something wrong. And I told him, I couldn't say a lot, but I was able to tell him, it's been one hell of a ride, and I love you. cried and he said, yeah, it has been, because he thought the same thing. I could tell that he felt like this might be it too. Not the pain, not being able to walk. Saying goodbye to my husband. That would be my lowest point. So he works nights as an inspector, and he's able to sit in his truck and do a bunch of research. So every night as he would go to work, that was all he did while he was at work, was look for answers. And we didn't know that what I had was long haul COVID. He found a video of a lady who had my symptoms after she had gotten COVID, and she went to Ophelia rises. He started researching stem cells and the benefits of what stem cells can do. At first he mentioned stem cells for treatment. We did go to LA. We were at this clinic for about 10 hours. It didn't help at all, but we were desperate. It was a waste of $10,000. And then he started looking into Ophelia rises. He kept talking about it, and my first thought was, yeah, right, we're not going to Mexico for medical treatment. And the thought went in one ear and out the other. I had come to this point where I thought, well, I'm only existing, and what kind of life is this? You get to this point where you're like, please, like, I'll do anything, please, God, help me, just help me get up. Like, if I have to live in pain, I'm okay with that, but let me get up. And I remember saying, if I need to be in Mexico, give me a sign. And the next day, my husband comes home from his night shift. He says, we have an appointment with Ophelia rises. If they're helping people, we are going to do it. And I was like, okay, we're going to Mexico then. We thought that I was going to die and we're desperate. I didn't feel like it was a business, like she was doing this for money. I mean, even if it was, I wouldn't have cared. The moment I talked to her, I thought, I trust her and I'll do whatever she says.
I would be hypo one day and hyper the next. And I was on T3.
I asked her, how do you know who you're going to help? And she said, well, the sickest of the sick. And I asked her, well, who's the sickest of the sick? And she said, well, you are. I mean, if you're in a wheelchair, you're pretty sick. And when she said that, I was like, oh, thank God, please, somebody just help me. And she was willing to help. She told me to put together a list of all of my symptoms. She said, I want you to take your time and put together every single thing that you can think of. And this is how I knew this person wants to help me. And by that time, because I'd been sick for so long, I had been keeping a record of everything that I was experiencing. So I had the list of everything. I sent it off to her and she told me we'd set up a Zoom. It was pretty fast. I had the Zoom with Ricardo and Dr. Belinda, and it was the greatest meeting that I have ever had with like a medical professional, because they had all of my symptoms and asked me about every single one of them. Then they talked amongst themselves to put together a plan. And the call was about an hour and 45 minutes. And I've been in doctor's office, where they just kind of look at your chart and then they're like, oh, I'm going to give you this. And it's like a 15-minute visit. But this one was like an hour and 45 minutes. They put together a plan and they went over it with me and said, think about it. And then whatever you decide, we can change it. We can, modify it, whatever works for you. And once I got the plan, the very next day, we were like, okay, we were going to book it. So within like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, we had already booked our hotel and flight. We were there within like 2 weeks. All I remember hoping for was just, God, please let me get to Mexico. I prayed, like, if I need to be there, God, give me a sign. There was a sign the next day. I knew that it was going to work. Everything about Mexico was perfect. My one hope was, please don't let this be like a sterile clinic. I didn't want that because I've been in that so long now. I just wanted something beautiful. We pulled up, there's so many trees and it's shaded. It's absolutely beautiful there. I felt very relaxed. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. I had 140 million natural killer cells, placental implants, 450 million stem cells, 1,000 mcgs of exosomes, and then a vitamin infusion. NK cells was the first treatment, and it was fast. It was like 15 minutes and then you're done. And after the NK cells, I felt great. Like, I think that they helped so much because my pain was gone after the first treatment. We were able to go out to dinner, and I remember my husband taking a picture and sending it to my kids and saying, like, look at her, she's, out in public eating dinner. I think it was a Tuesday we first got NK cells. Then Wednesday was the day with, a lot of placental implant and exosomes and the infusion. It was a long day. I actually felt great afterwards, and I hadn't felt great in so long. The next morning, I remember feeling like I just can't do it. My husband is like, you're gonna go today, right? I said, yeah, I'm gonna go. But I remember just being so exhausted. My husband's pushing me in there. He said, are you okay? I said, I'm not okay today. You know that the day that you have your worst hangover of your life, and you remember it and you're like, I'll never drink again. That's how I felt the following morning. Everybody's talking and, and they're excited and they're hopeful, and I could barely hold my body up. I did my treatment, and then I went back and I just laid there in bed, and the TV was on, and I don't even know what was on, but I just was like existing again. Friday, had another treatment, not as bad. Because we have 2 kids, the oldest one was watching the young one, so we couldn't leave them alone very long. So we were there Sunday to Sunday, so 1 week. It was just enough time to get what I needed to get, and we flew home, and I remember just feeling very, very tired, so tired. And I knew that was going to be expected. I wasn't going to jump up and like, hey, I had stem cells and, I'm back to being 100%. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew that I needed to rest and allow my body to do what it needed to do. And if that meant me laying on the couch for another few weeks, then that's what I was going to do. So I was really, really tired for a week and a half. And I remember Dr. Belinda telling me, when you have energy and when you're up to it, I want you to start to walk a little bit, with your wheelchair, just to try to get some movement back in your leg. So it was like the 6th day that I was home. I felt like this 90-year-old woman because I had been laying down and then hunched over in the chair and trying to stretch out my back and get some movement back in my feet. Every day would walk a little bit. My husband would laugh and he's like, "Look at you, who do you think you are with those, fancy Lieutenant Dan legs?" So every day I would try a little bit. The exhaustion was still there, but I was able to move a little bit. And every week after, I would get up in the morning and, hold onto my bed and try to hold onto the dresser without using the walker. And every day it just got a little bit better and a little bit better. I just started physical therapy last week and they gave me some exercises to do. And the physical therapist was like, "You look physically in shape." And I said, "Oh, but I'm not. I feel like a 90-year-old woman." So I have exercises that I'm supposed to do and they're slow. The physical therapist was like, "We'll just do very basic stuff and then we'll build on it." And he's like, "Oh, just get on the treadmill." And I was like, "Okay." I was so scared. I was petrified. All of us that have that long haul COVID, we have PTSD for almost everything. But at the same time, I'm so excited because this means you're healing. This means like you're not dying, like you're going to be okay. So that was very exciting for me. I got on a treadmill for the first time in 10 months. The physical therapist said, "What is your end goal here?" "Well, I would really like to be able to work out again, maybe do yoga." He's like, "That's your end goal?" And, well, if I'm being honest, I'd really like to be able to run again. He's like, "Well, then let's put that. Like, you'll be able to run again." And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yes, you'll be able to run again." Now I'm going to be able to run again. Like, I am so happy. And it's all because of the stem cells. I did lose like 10 pounds of muscle throughout my body, but my legs are so much weaker now. Walking is still, it's hard. I can do it, but it is hard. I can feel the weakness in my legs a lot. Sometimes it feels like bone on bone in my knees. I can function, I can get up and, live. Every now and again, I have a little bit of like wheezing in the center of my chest. It's not even every day. That's just some days. I tell my husband, I feel like a 90-year-old woman coming from being so active, being a runner, and now my body hurts. But that's okay. That's okay. If that's all there is, I'm fine with it. When I came back from Mexico, I remember sitting on a stool because my body's still really weak, sitting on a stool at the stove and cooking eggs and looking down. It's like, "Oh, look, my heart rate is normal." So like the heart rate started to get back to normal. I've been able to cook every day, which means so much to me. And I remember praying, "Please God, if I can only cook my family one meal and hug my husband, that's all that I'm okay with. Like if I have to live the rest of my life like this, I'm okay with that." Now I'm able to like cook every single meal that they eat and watch my daughter, play volleyball again and hug my husband. Yeah, so I do have my life back. I was telling somebody the other day that I have this sometimes survivor's guilt when sharing my story because not everybody can go. And it makes me so mad that, it's so hard to get treatment for something that you're suffering from. And, there is a treatment. There's a way to get better. Just listen in on some of their Zoom calls. If you're not convinced, listen to the calls, listen to some of their stories. Ask questions, and then make it happen. That's what I would say. There are people who will ask, "Can I ask you a bunch of questions?" And I'll tell them, "Yeah, here's my number, call me." And some of them will say, well, do you work for Ophelia Rises? No, I don't work for them. I was in a very bad position and they helped me. So I talked to a girl on TikTok. I was telling her about Ophelia Rises, and she's like, well, I thought that you worked for them and I thought you were going to try to sell me something. And I was like, no, I'm just a sick person who went to Mexico and got treatment, and they helped me. And if you want to know, I'll tell you, because that's what they did, and they helped me. Go to Mexico if you can, and you'll heal. I mean, it's a start. It is a start to getting back to living. I don't see my doctor at all. I don't have any contact with a doctor. I see a naturopath, and that's it. I was lucky, blessed to have this amazing man who, makes my life a million times better. No, I am so grateful for the work that Elizabeth, Lynn, and JT are doing. And I know that they have a small group of family and people who are working together. And Ricardo and Dr. Belinda, like, if I could just hug all of you, I would. Everybody asked, are you going to go back? I have plans to go back and hug them, but I don't feel like I need to go back for treatment. It was exactly what I needed in order to get better. I was able to heal and able to get better and to do what my body needed to do to get better. So a huge part of it is having people there to help you. It has been a miracle. I don't know what to call it or describe it, but people ask, so the stem cells worked? Yeah, the stem cells worked. I have learned to take it easy. I said goodbye to my husband once, and I never want to do that again. So I don't expect anything. I don't have any expectations. All I do is today I wake up and thank you, God, for another day to be a mom and to be a wife and to do good and to maybe share a little bit of myself with other people. And tomorrow, I'll worry about tomorrow then. I'm not going to put any pressure on myself. I'm just happy to be alive just today and to be present here and to share this moment with you. And that's it. I don't really have any expectations. I'm happy. I am so happy.